She walked through the quiet hospital corridors, her heart hammering in her chest, each step echoing like a drumbeat of memories. Long buried, she could feel the years pressing against her in the sterile air, the smell of antiseptic sharp in her nose. But it was familiar somehow, a scent that reminded her of childhood of moments. She could not forget of the gentle hands that had held hers in fear and comfort, the hands of the woman she had always dreamed of finding. She paused outside. A room, the nameplate reading Nurse Alina, and the world seemed to tilt, as if time had slowed. The door was closed, and yet it felt like a threshold to another life. She drew a deep breath, her palms clammy but determined. She pushed the door open, and the room unfolded before her, like a scene she had imagined countless nights in her dreams. The nurse looked up, and for a moment, their eyes met and everything else ceased to exist. The lines on the woman's face spoke of years of care, sacrifice, and love. A warmth that reached through the space between them and touched the core of her being. She stepped forward. Slowly, her steps trembling with anticipation, disbelief, and hope colliding in her chest. The mother she had longed for all her life, the woman who had nurtured her from afar, who had held her when she was too small to understand the world, now stood before her. The shock was almost paralyzing, yet the joy was overwhelming. She reached out her hand, almost instinctively, and theirs met the contact, electric, yet tender. All the lost years and unanswered questions surged in that single touch. She could feel the heartbeat of the woman who had been both mother and nurse. The same heart that had guided her gently through childhood. The tears she had held back for so long threatened to spill, and she let them fall. The mother smiled softly, a smile that held apologies, unspoken words, and boundless love. Her voice trembling, she whispered, "I have waited for you for so long," and the daughter choked back a sob, "I have waited too," and they embraced, a hug that held decades of separation. The warmth pressed against them, filling the spaces of longing with comfort of reunion. The room around them faded away, leaving only the rhythm of their hearts, the steady breaths, the soft rustle of clothes, the quiet intimacy of reunion, memories of every scraped knee, every whispered story, every bedtime lullaby played in the heart like a film, a tapestry woven from moments she had never forgotten. Every smile she had imagined, every dream of love lost and found. Now alive in the woman holding her, she could feel the patience, the sorrow, the joy, the regrets, the laughter. The countless nights spent wondering if this moment would ever come. The hands that had cared for her, hands that had healed her, hands that had guided her, now held her tightly, and in that embrace, she felt a completeness that had eluded her for years, a sense of home, a sense of belonging, a sense of love that needed no explanation. She pulled back slightly to look at the face she had searched for in photos, in memories, in the silence of her heart, and she saw herself reflected in those eyes. The little girl who had longed for a mother, the teenager who had dreamed of reunion, the woman who had finally found the heart she had been missing, and in that reflection she understood the courage, the patience, the devotion it had taken for this woman to wait for her, to survive, to hope, and to never give up on a child she had once held. She leaned in once more and whispered words that trembled with emotion, words that carried the weight of years. "I am here, I am yours now," and the mother nodded, tears streaming freely as if a dam had broken, and they stood together in the quiet hospital room, wrapped in the embrace of rediscovered love. The moments stretched infinitely, the seconds filled with meaning. The love that had been separated by circumstance, but never by heart, pulsed between them, a rhythm that echoed through every fiber of being. She felt safe, she felt whole, she felt finally at peace. The stories of her childhood, the fears, the loneliness, the longing for a mother, all converged in this reunion, in this room, in this heartbeat. She knew the world outside could wait, the past could be forgiven, the future could begin, and in the gentle squeeze of the hands, in the tender press of the forehead against hers, she felt the universe contracting into this perfect moment, the love that had always existed. Now visible, palpable, undeniable, she could stay here forever in this embrace. Yet she knew that life would continue, that the healing would continue, that they would walk forward together, stronger, wiser, bound by the threads of love that no time could sever. And with one last deep breath, she closed her eyes to imprint the image. the feeling the warmth into her soul, knowing that she had found what she had searched for all her life. The mother, the nurse, the heart she had longed for, now standing with her, sharing with her the beauty of a reunion that words could never fully capture. The day had begun like any other, with sunlight spilling softly through the hospital windows, the world outside busy and unaware of the reunion that had taken place just hours before she wandered through the hallways, now familiar. Every corner, every sound, every shadow seemed to carry a story. Every heartbeat of the place resonated with her own, her mind replaying the previous moments over and over. The gentle embrace, the recognition, the warmth of her mother's hands, it all felt like a dream she could not wake from, yet reality pressed in with the subtle weight of ongoing life, patience, waiting lives continuing, and yet she moved through the corridors. As if walking through a memory, she paused by the nurse's station, watching the rhythm of activity, the soft-spoken words, the clatter of instruments, the gentle care extended to those who needed it all around her. The world kept turning, but she had discovered a world of her own, a world of love, lost and found, a world where the woman who had raised her and the woman who had given her life were one and the same. She remembered every story her mother had told her through letters and whispers, every tale of sacrifice, every moment of hope, every tear shed in private, now painted in vivid colors in her mind as she stepped closer to the room that had become sacred in her heart. The mother was there, tending to a patient, a frail woman whose eyes looked up at her with gratitude and relief. The way her mother moved, the way she spoke, the tenderness in her hands, the focus in her gaze, it all carried a beauty that transcended ordinary care. She watched in awe, the realization washing over her that this woman had not only given her life, but had touched countless others in ways immeasurable. She stepped forward, and the mother noticed her immediately, their eyes locking in a language beyond words, the same understanding, the same connection from earlier flowing effortlessly between them. She approached, and they embraced again, longer, deeper, as if trying to hold the years at bay, and in that embrace, she felt the story of her childhood unfolding around her. The moments she had never lived, but had imagined so vividly, now danced around her consciousness. Every lullaby, every story, every night spent wondering if she was alone now, answered in the presence of the woman holding her. She pulled back slightly to observe the room, the patients, the staff, the life that continued uninterrupted, yet somehow connected to the heartbeat of their reunion. She realized the depth of the woman's patience, the unwavering courage it had taken to nurture a child from afar, to hold love in secret, to wait for the day when paths would cross and souls would recognize each other. The mother reached out gently and guided her to a quiet corner, the sunlight falling across the floor, illuminating the small details of the room, the textures of linens, the faint scent of antiseptic mixing with the soft perfume of her mother. The conversation began hesitantly at first, the words flowing slowly, revealing pieces of the past, stories of separation, small details of life, events missed, letters never sent, moments of longing. The daughter listened intently, absorbing every word, storing every nuance in her memory. The mother spoke of fear of losing her, of the uncertainties of life, of moments when she had doubted herself, yet never doubted the love she held, and the daughter shared stories of her own. The experiences of growing up wondering where her mother was, the quiet achievements, the triumphs, small victories and losses, the moments of solitude when she had cried in darkness, wishing for a guiding hand, and the mother's hand had always been there, unseen, a presence in every choice, every whisper of encouragement in letters long held close to her heart. The dialogue flowed seamlessly, the bond strengthening with each revelation, with each shared memory. They walked together through the corridors, stepping into rooms, pausing to observe patients, each patient a story, a life, a reminder of the fragility and beauty of existence. She learned more about her mother in those hours than she had imagined possible, the sacrifices, the quiet bravery, the relentless devotion to care and nurture, and in the soft pauses between words, in the gentle touches, in the quiet glances, she felt a reassurance, a grounding and undeniable truth that this connection had been destined. It had survived time-distant circumstances. The mother led her to a small garden courtyard outside the hospital, The sun now higher, the light softer, yet warming every surface, the daughter breathed deeply the scent of flowers. Mixing with the crisp autumn air, the sound of birds chirping, faint yet melodic in the background. A gentle breeze brushing against her face and hair, the mother spoke of her own childhood memories of this very courtyard, the lessons learned, the friendships made, the fears overcome, the dreams nurtured every story, a thread connecting past to present. The daughter listened, feeling the intertwining of their lives, the merging of experiences, and the blossoming of new beginnings in that sacred space. They sat together, recounting tales, long-held secret laughter, punctuating moments of melancholy. The weight of years lifted with each shared anecdote, every gesture, every look, a testament to love, endured. The time flowed seamlessly, hours stretching and bending in a comforting rhythm. The world beyond the hospital walls existed, but here inside the garden, the universe seemed to contract into a bubble of understanding and trust. The mother recounted the days she had spent watching from afar, the nights she had prayed for her child, the quiet victories unseen by anyone else yet monumental in the emotional landscape of their lives. And the daughter shared dreams, unspoken fears, aspirations, hopes, and every vulnerability hidden from the world, but fully visible here. Between them, the sun began to dip lower, the shadows lengthening, painting the courtyard in golds and soft pinks. The mother held her hand and spoke softly of the future, of the possibilities they could explore together. The support, the guidance, the nurturing that would now be mutual, no longer separated by distance, by misunderstanding, by circumstance. The daughter felt a surge of gratitude, a warmth swelling in her chest that made her want to hold this moment forever, yet knowing that life would continue. And yet feeling ready to embrace it. The wind picked up, slightly rustling leaves around them. The mother squeezed her hand gently, a silent promise, a silent acknowledgement of journeys endured and journeys yet to come. They rose slowly, walking back through the hallways, past patients, past colleagues, past rooms filled with the echo of countless stories, each step measured, thoughtful, deliberate, savoring every detail, every sight, every sound, aware that this day was a turning point, a rebirth, a reweaving of the fabric of their lives together. They paused near the nurse's station, lingering in the moment before rejoining the flow of daily life. The daughter finally spoke, breaking the comfortable silence. "I never imagined finding you like this," and the mother smiled, a quiet, knowing smile, the bond unbroken. Despite all odds, despite time, despite separation, a story of love, rediscovered in the eyes, the hands, the presence of the other, a moment that would linger forever in the heart. They returned to the room where it had begun, the patient now resting, the quiet hum of machines, a backdrop to the rhythm of renewed life. They sat side by side, feeling the presence of countless companions of their shared past and present. The mother's hand resting lightly on her daughter's shoulder, a gentle reminder of protection and connection. The daughter leaning slightly into her mother, trusting fully, finally embracing the entirety of love that had always been there. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the hospital, the world outside continued. Unaware, yet within these walls, a universe had expanded, lives had been realigned, hearts had been healed, and two souls had found each other, completing a circle that had been waiting patiently for decades. In silence, in longing, in love, the morning light filtered softly through the hospital windows, painting the floors in gentle hues of gold and rose. She walked slowly along the corridors, her heart still carrying the echoes of the reunion, the warmth of her mother's hands, the tender smile that had reached into the deepest corners of her soul. Every step deliberate, every breath a quiet reflection on the journey that had brought her here. The world outside moved in its relentless pace, but inside these walls, time seemed to stretch and bend around the story that was unfolding. She passed the nurse's station, pausing briefly to observe the quiet rhythm of life here. The patients moving slowly, the gentle care extended by each member of the staff. Each act of kindness a mirror to the love that had nurtured her. The mother appeared at the doorway, beckoning her gently. The daughter moved toward her, feeling a swell of emotion. She could not contain the embrace they shared this time, longer, more deliberate, holding not only each other but the years lost, the moments missed, the longing endured. She rested her head against her Mother's shoulder, feeling the steady heartbeat, the warmth that had been missing for so long, and they remained like this for what felt like hours, yet could have been minutes. The room around them faded into a soft blur. The sounds muted the world, reduced to the rhythm of two souls reconnecting. The mother pulled back slightly, brushing a strand of hair from her daughter's face. The eyes met again, full of understanding, love, and unspoken apologies. "I never thought I would find you," she whispered, the voice trembling with emotion, and the daughter smiled, tears brimming. "I never gave up on you," she replied softly. In that room, in that moment, they shared more than words, more than stories. They shared a lifetime of love, distilled into a single heartbeat, a promise that would never fade. Together, they began to walk through the hospital again, past the rooms filled with lives unfolding, past the whispers of pain and joy, past the quiet struggles of humanity, each step grounding them in the reality of the present. Yet echoing with the memories of the past, the mother spoke gently of the challenges she had faced, of the days she had watched from afar, of the nights spent in prayer for her child's safety and happiness. The daughter listened, absorbing each word, each nuance, each sigh, and in the pauses between words, she felt the depth of her mother's sacrifice, the enormity of patience, the unwavering strength that had guided her from the shadows. The stories continued flowing, recounting moments of fear, triumph, love, and longing, every tale a thread weaving them closer together. They paused in the garden courtyard, the sunlight now soft and warm, the gentle breeze rustling leaves around them, creating a symphony of nature. The mother gestured toward the flowers, the trees, the soft petals of blossoms falling gently onto the ground, each a symbol of life renewal and the beauty of moments both fleeting and eternal. The daughter watched, absorbing the imagery, the feelings the metaphors made real in the space around her. She felt a connection not only to her mother, but to the world, to life too. The delicate balance of existence they spoke of, the past months, the healing, the learning, the laughter that had begun to fill their shared days, of the small victories and small defeats, the steps taken together, the courage to face pain, the willingness to forgive the mistakes and misunderstandings that had shadowed years of separation. The mother recounted tales of her own childhood, struggles of dreams, pursuit of failures, endured of love, discovered and lost, and through it all, the daughter realized the strength that had been passed down to her, the resilience embedded in her very being, the gift of survival and compassion intertwined. She shared with her mother stories of her own journey, the moments when she had almost given up, the nights spent in solitude wishing for guidance, the triumphs small and large, the lessons learned in the crucible of life, the vulnerabilities she had never voiced before. Yet here in this sacred space, she felt safe enough to lay them bare. The conversation flowed seamlessly, hours passing unnoticed, the sun moving across the sky, the light shifting and casting soft shadows, each moment stretching into eternity, yet filled with purpose. They paused at a quiet corner, overlooking the city streets below, watching lives continue, oblivious to their world, yet somehow connected in invisible threads of fate and destiny. The mother took her daughter's hand, gently holding it, as if to anchor both of them in the present and the future. The daughter leaned into her mother, trusting fully, finally feeling the security and love that had eluded her for decades. Together, they walked back inside the hospital, passing patients, families, staff, each encounter a gentle reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring strength of love. Each face a story, each story a lesson, each lesson a bond invisible yet palpable. They reached a quiet room filled with sunlight and soft furnishings, a place to pause, to reflect, to plan for the future. The mother spoke softly of dreams yet to be pursued, of places yet to visit, of shared moments to create a lifetime of memories. They spoke of aspirations, fears, hopes of building together a life intertwined, yet allowing each the freedom to grow independently. The daughter felt a wave of gratitude, a warmth that made her heart swell, a completeness that had been missing for so long. She realized the reunion had not only healed her past, but had opened the doorway to an expansive future, possibilities endless and unbroken. The sun, now lower, casting long golden beams across the room. The mother rested her hand lightly on her daughter's shoulder, a silent promise, a silent acknowledgement of journeys endured and journeys yet to come. The daughter leaned slightly into her mother, feeling the protection, the love, the unwavering presence that had always existed. Even when unseen, they shared stories of families, friends, dreams, careers, life's delicate weave of joy and sorrow, and in each story, each laugh, each tear, each pause, they built a tapestry of connection, stronger, deeper than anything they had imagined. A bond that would never fade, nor be broken, the evening air creeping through open windows, carrying the scent of flowers, of autumn leaves, the distant hum of life outside, blending with the quiet inner rhythm of the hospital. The mother and daughter spoke of legacy of love passed through generations, of lessons learned, of courage taught silently, through example of patience, through endurance, and of kindness freely given and received. They recounted memories of shared moments, now treasured the first laughter, the first tears, and embraced fully the beauty of life's the inevitability of change, the power of forgiveness, the strength of love. They paused once more in the courtyard. The sky painted in deep shades of orange and pink, stars beginning to peek through the fading light. The daughter looked at her mother and whispered words that carried the weight of decades. "I am here. I am ready to live with you, to learn with you, to love with you." And the mother smiled, the expression one of pride, joy, relief, and infinite love, a silent understanding passing between them that this was only the beginning of a new chapter. Together, they walked slowly back into the hospital, the corridors, now familiar, yet brimming with possibility, each step a declaration of continuity, of hope, of resilience, of shared life. Moved through the rooms, past patients, past nurses, past families, all carrying their own stories, their own journeys, and yet within the mother and daughter, a universe had expanded lives, realigned hearts, healed souls, reunited. The mother guided the daughter to the room where their story had begun, closing the circle, yet opening the path forward. The daughter rested her hand on her mother's, gently feeling the pulse of love, the unbroken thread of connection, and in the quiet embrace, they understood that time had been conquered by patience and love. Life's challenges had been met with courage, and the future awaited them together, unafraid, confident, and endlessly hopeful.